What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to another special episode of Tuffy Talk, yo. I feel like every single week I'm sitting here saying to myself, okay, this is a special episode. I feel like I'm even introducing every episode saying it's special, but I truly do mean it here today, as this is really, in my eyes, a special episode, as we have, at least in my eyes, one of my all-time favorite athletes at NC State, and in my opinion, one of the most impactful student athletes to come to NC State in the last decade. Elissa Cunane, an all-time great NC State women's basketball player and beloved by NC State fans, and forever will be for sure. And so, Lisa, first of all, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really do appreciate your time today.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to be here.
Let's do. All right. So kind of real quick. So I noticed you're wearing it looked like a newer NC State hoodie. So was that from your time at State, or did you receive it or buy it after your time at State? It looks a little fresher.
It is fresh, but it was from my time at State.
Okay,
When
so
I
you
go
keep your stuff
overseas,
clean.
yeah, oh, for sure, for sure. NC State stuff gets hung up in the closet.
There we go. I like it. I like it. That's what's up. So first of all, let's kind of talk about where you are right now. So you're based in the Czech Republic, and I have your team here, which I'm going to totally butcher it, and that's okay. Zabini Birno. Am I saying that
Okay,
right?
it was a good try.
Totally butchered it. Okay,
Butchered it.
I totally butchered it. Go for it.
Jabini Burno.
Jabini Birno. Okay,
Yeah, like
I
the
actually like
Z's
that.
like a J.
Jabini Birno. Okay,
Yeah, there you
I
go.
like that. That's what's up. All right. So you play with them now for since 2002, correct? You've been with them now. This is your third. This is your second full season with them. Am I correct?
Yeah, this is the start of my second full season with them.
Okay, great. So kind of tell me about, how what's your experience been like in the Czech Republic and playing there, like, life there in general, like, kind of give me an overview on life in the Czech Republic for you right now.
Yeah, so honestly, it's awesome right now. There's actually just a rainbow outside of my window as we started this podcast, which I thought was
Oh,
pretty
that's
cool.
gorgeous.
But I'm in
Nice.
Brno, which is the second largest city. I'm like 2 hours from Prague, 2 hours from Vienna, Austria. So it's a great location. I love the city. It's obviously a big city, but it has like a small town feel to it almost.
Hmm.
I love like just going into town, like to the downtown, hanging out, going to eat, whatever. My
Hmm.
team, I love my team as well. Like I said, here for my second year, most of the players are the same. I have a couple of people on the team that I'm closer to. One of my teammates she lives in Montenegro, but she's from Bosnia Herzegovina. And so I got to go see her home over the summer when I came to visit,
Oh,
and I'm super close with her. We had one American last year, but this year we have a French Mexican player. That's kind of like another import. So
okay.
honestly, it's great. I love my team. I love the coaches. I love the city. I've been loving these 2 years.
I love it. Yeah. Well, because it's funny. I remember, like, actually, when we first started Tuffy Talk, we had the honor of interviewing Ace Koenig.
Hmm.
And I remember she was actually playing with a former UNC player at the time, on her team that was a former UNC player. And so I was looking at your starting roster. I saw that most of them looked like are based in the Czech Republic. And so, I mean, I'm assuming no real interesting storylines there as well, since you said that most of them are not US based now. At
Well,
least
funny you
your
mention it.
teammates. Okay.
Our French player is Lou Lopez Seneschal,
Okay.
who played at UConn her last year.
Okay.
Um, she just
Wow.
graduated
Okay. So,
last year. Yeah, yeah. Let's
so
get
y'all have
into
been
it.
talking a lot. Y'all have been talking a lot over the last couple of days.
Honestly, so she's been with the national team. She just played for the French national
Ah.
team. And today's my first
Ah.
day seeing her at practice, which is another reason why I got the sweatshirt on.
I love it. That's what's up. Okay. All right. So
But yeah,
there it is.
she
That's the
played.
interesting
Yeah,
storyline.
yeah, she's a
Hmm.
great player. She plays the WNBA. Last year was her first year, and this is her first year overseas. So it's been a journey
Cool.
for her so far.
Yeah, I had already mentioned that we interviewed Ace Koenig a couple of years ago, so I'm sure I probably asked her this at the time, but I just want to kind of ask it again, maybe because maybe it's different experience for you as well. So how does it kind of work in terms of, so you decide to, at least for the time being, move away from the WNBA, and so how does it work in terms of deciding where you're going to go? Like, do you kind of get recruited by these teams overseas, like? Because I know obviously, there's a lot of countries that have a professional, women's basketball league. So how does it kind of work in
Hmm.
terms of deciding where you're going to go?
Yeah, so I have an agent, and that's the biggest storyline. I remember last year, after I 2 years ago, maybe now, like after I graduated from NC State,
Yeah.
I was in touch with my agent, and he had found this team in the Czech Republic. And it's funny when you start looking at who the players are on teams and who their agent is. So my
Mhm.
agent is actually the agent for like three, four other girls on my team. So your agents have connections all overseas, and so he's the one that found this team and placed me here. And there was actually another girl at the time that had the same agency, and she was on the team as well. So he knew of the team.
Mhm.
He knew that they needed a post, and gave me some other options as well, and went through them and decided that this was going to be the best place for me for the time being.
Okay. Yeah. And kind of talking a little bit in terms of season so far, you guys have played, at least from what I'm seeing here, correct me if I'm wrong, you played 6 games so far, averaging just over 10 points a game. 9 for 12 free throw, which is no shocker. Again, just keep doing what you're doing, but from your time at NC State. But I got to ask, you've only shot one 3-pointer and you made it. But I'm sitting here saying, I mean, that was a pretty big piece of your game, especially NC State. I mean, you're over, I can't even remember. Like I'm off the top of my head, like 35% 3-point shooter. So I mean, are we going to see more 3-pointers? In the Czech? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know what stats you're looking at. I have shot a couple more than one, but one is my
Okay.
maid. My maid is right now is one.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'm
Uh,
seeing here 1 for 1, but again,
no,
it, it,
that's all right.
yeah, yeah.
No, definitely. I'm shooting them still. I mean, honestly, my coach talked to me the other day. He was like, Elisa, like, I saw your stats in college. You were 38%. Like, where's 38% over here? Honestly, I think it just comes to like
Wow.
comfortability. Like overseas, the gameplay is so different to me, and so it's been tough, honestly, finding like my comfort in. Okay, this is when I need to shoot the ball, but this is when my teammate is open. This is when I need to go set a screen. Yada yada. It's been
Yeah.
honestly, it's been a hard transition from college to the professionals overseas and figuring that out.
Is there much of a language barrier?
Not too much, no. My
Okay.
coach actually speaks great English. His mom
Cool.
was an English teacher, I believe. And most of my team speaks great English as well. And I help them a little bit, and they help me learn Czech. So it's been pretty good basketball wise as far as the language barrier.
Have you been able to pick up Czech pretty well, or I mean, kind of give me
I
your
know a
updates on
couple
that?
words. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I
All
I
right.
know enough to like have a greeting with somebody, to count, to like order food at a restaurant or something. So yeah,
Hmm.
I know a little bit. I can understand maybe more than I can speak. Like when they talk, I know what they're talking about sometimes.
Gotcha.
But if you asked me
Yeah.
to say it back, I probably wouldn't be able to. But I know a little bit. I know a little
Yeah. First phrase I'm sure you had to learn was "I'm open." So yeah, uh,
bit.
uh, yeah, that's awesome. So kind of tell me in terms of long term vision. I know that you had a little bit of a stint there with the Minnesota Lynx, and is the goal during each offseason WNBA offseason to see if there's a possibility of you returning back to the WNBA? Like what's kind of the long term vision for you for your career in your opinion?
Yeah, I think right now where I'm at, it's still a dream of mine to obviously play, but play more longer in the WNBA over the summer.
Mhm.
At the same
Yeah.
time, it's hard, it's hard to make a team, to stay with the team, to even kind of be a part of that conversation. So
Mhm.
it is still a dream of mine, but also at the same time, I'm very content with where I am overseas right now.
Mhm.
So it's kind of just I'm still working towards it. I'm still working hard, but we'll see where it ends up. But no matter what, like I know where I'm supposed to be.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need. Offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. Amen. That's awesome. Yeah, and I did want to kind of ask you about it too, because especially for me, it was a big frustrating piece. Because like for me, like I've always wanted to get more into the WNBA. I catch them, especially with my wife being a South Carolina grad, so she follows. Whenever Vegas goes to the finals because of their South Carolina's player that plays for the Las Vegas
Asia
Aces.
Wilson, yeah.
Asia Wilson, yeah.
Asia
So
Wilson,
so
yeah.
so 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 we check out Asia for sure. But for me, like when you were going to WNBA, I was like, okay, all right, cool. So wherever Elise is going, like that's gonna be my team, and I'm gonna check them out and all that, and then you have like 3 games where you make an appearance and then you end up not making it. And I was doing a little bit of research and basically like it's crazy that the stats here say that nearly half of the lottery picks, aka top 4 or 5 draft pick, are mostly make up the WNBA. Like you're basically like, most of them are lottery picks, and it's very very tough to make a team, and especially for a player like yourself being one of the all time in state greats and not even making rosters. So I mean, kind of tell me, being a fan, of more from an NC State side. Like, I'm not necessarily the
Mhm.
hugest professional basketball fan, even NBA fan in general, but I love NC State. I follow NC State. So, kind of, does my point kind of make sense in terms of like, I feel like that I would watch more if I saw more NC State players, out there, which I mean is kind of a frustrating thing for me. I mean, so would you say, like, would you agree with my stance, or like kind of help me in terms of like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know exactly where I'm going with this, but it's just frustrating because I want that, like, all right, now that Elise is in, I'm gonna go check them out. Like, or now that Kayla Jones is in, I'm gonna go watch these games. Like
Mhm.
that's kind of the thing for me. I guess it's maybe more of an excuse to go check it out now.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, like the transition from college to the pros, like you have to be professionally ready, right? So like I think people going into college looking for like coaching and guidance and a little bit of leadership. And I think going into the WNBA, like they expect you maybe not to be at your best yet, but like to be a professional, and to be ready to rock and roll
Yeah,
right away, like without any extra like help or like guidance, I would say, at least from
yeah,
my perspective. However, I
yeah,
think that I mean, I definitely like was a little upset. I mean, obviously, how could I not be? And so for me, I was like, man, like maybe I won't watch the WNBA a little bit. But then you start like looking at other people's storylines and like there's players who there's a player for the Chicago Sky. I forget her name, but she didn't play the WNBA for maybe like 17 years or something. And then now she started for the Chicago Sky like a season or two ago and was making such an impact. And then you see players who got drafted, got released, and then they go back and then now they're the star of their team. So I think for the WNBA, it's really a process. And while some of your favorite players are hurt by that process sometimes, you see other players that get the benefits of it and like they get through the process. I mean, it's
yeah.
still an amazing league, and I've been watching it, like watching the finals this year. I mean, you see players who are just dominating, and it's just like I think if you really watch it and you get to know some of the players in the league aside from your favorite sports team, it's incredible to watch what they're doing out there.
Yeah. No, and that makes sense, for sure. And again, it's more just kind of, again, just checking out, at least what in my opinion is a great product, because of the fact that I mean, since there are so few teams, every single team is pretty much stacked. I mean, for the most part, I
Hmm.
know that some teams are more stacked. I mean, again, Vegas has now won 2 WNBA championships in a row. So, and Asia
Yeah.
Wilson is definitely a big piece to it for sure. So, it's exciting to see. But, so I do want to kind of ask you a little bit here, about, start to kind of transition, talking about your time at NC State, talking about, the team this year. Got to talk about the locker room renovations. Definitely got to get your
Oh my
input on that.
goodness.
Uh, you know what? Forget it. Let's talk about that first, because
Let's start with the locker
obviously,
room.
let's start with the locker room. All right. So first and foremost, did you know about any, like, were these renovation talks even happening while you were still a state?
Yes. So
Okay.
I think honestly, I want to say it was my junior year. I might be wrong, but I remember after
Okay.
my junior year, there was starting to be some talk about, oh, like we might get some new locker room space, like we might have like some vanities to like get ready or like maybe to relax, like sleeping pods and all this. And they talked about it as if it was happening
Mm-hmm.
while we
Yep.
were still there. Um, and I
Ah.
mean, look, like I was blessed to go into Reynolds when it first was renovated,
Mm-hmm.
right? So my freshman
Right.
year was maybe like the first or second year that Reynolds was
Okay.
renovated.
Okay.
And we had a new locker renovation then. And
Okay.
then my senior year, so I would say that I just missed it, but I also had it
Yeah.
brand new when I first got there. And so for the program to be taking off like it has and like it was, to for them to be able to come back in and redo it with obviously the generous donation, it's
Mm-hmm.
incredible and it's beautiful. And I saw during camp when I was there over the summer, I got to see the bare walls and I was like, wow, like I just want a tour. Like I need to go back and get a
Yeah.
tour from the coaches.
You're asking coach, are you sure I don't have any more eligibility left, coach? Like, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, can I take
uh,
my fifth year now?
yeah. Yeah, right. So tell me what's your favorite parts? I mean, again, like for me, those sleeping pods are next level. But I mean, kind of give me your your favorite pieces of the renovations.
Honestly, it just looks more open to me.
I
Like, I
like it.
remember when we were there, there's a huge pillar in the middle of our locker room. And so you couldn't
Mm,
even see like everybody within the locker room. And so now it looks like the space is
mm,
a lot more open.
mm-hmm.
And the sleeping pods, like, I 100% would be in there every day taking a nap. Like, my pillow and blanket would stay there, you know?
I love it. And so, I mean, have you used one of those sleeping pods before?
I haven't, no.
Okay, I was gonna say like I honestly don't know like what happens. Like is there like I don't even know if like there's a screen in there or if it's just like that just makes it really dark. I have no clue. But I mean I like how it swivels around and comes in front of you, like that by itself is cool. So I mean
Yeah,
we'll take
it's
it.
probably just like
Um
blackout, so you can just go right to bed.
there you go. I mean, hey listen, you don't I don't need much to take a nap, all right? So
When the coaches give me
but
a tour, I'll let you know.
all right. So there we go. There we go. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So and kind of talk to me too in terms of, I mean, there's, I think one of the biggest, off season changes for over the last 2 years is adding of former NC State basketball player Ashley Williams, and now adding Kayla Jones on the roster as well. Were you able to play with Ashley before she graduated, or did she play right before you came?
She played right before I came, so I never played with her.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but
But
I went to many a games to watch her play. Like my whole scouting recruiting journey was while she was playing, and I just remember watching her
which
play, and it was amazing.
Well, and that's because that's another great story. I mean, former walk on, right here in
Yeah,
the area, played at Green Hope, right down the road from NC State, and then, ended up being a very effective player for us. So,
she was so
um,
tenacious. Like every time she played,
yeah,
I just remember charges, 3-point shots. She was so tenacious.
she played a lot of grit. Absolutely, completely agree with you
Yeah,
there.
for sure.
So kind of tell because I mean, the addition of Kayla, like, I'm sure maybe you still stay in touch with Kayla some, but I mean, what would you say? At least in my opinion, I think that because one of the biggest things Kayla brought when she was at NC State was her leadership on and from everything I heard off the court as well. Would you say that that's a big thing that Westmore saw in terms of wanting to bring Kayla back in terms of bringing those leadership qualities to the locker room?
For sure, 100%. I think KJ is probably the best person to be in that role right now. I mean, you always hear Coach Moore talk about it. Like KJ came into NC State and didn't play that much her first year or two, and then she came
Hmm.
on to be like the most central part of the team, you know? And I think
Yep.
her leadership grew along with that in her journey. You know, she's not teaching these freshmen that come in there. KJ's not like, oh, like, yeah, my freshman year I was scoring 30 points, you know? Like, no, she can
Hmm.
relate to every single one of them and tell them
Hmm.
that, like, no matter what's happening, like, you can still bring your passion, your energy. And KJ is by far the best person to be there to do that, to help those girls as they start their college and then as they go through the 4 years.
I love it. Yeah. And I mean, I think you've definitely seen that again. We're going to talk about the Yukon game and the team this season during part two. But I mean, there's no doubt that you're seeing a 9 day difference. And which again, I'm not necessarily saying it. I mean, I think KJ had a lot has something to do with that for sure. But I mean, it's uh, got to give a hats off to Westmore. I mean, to make the moves he did during the offseason and what we've seen so far in terms of not only just the skill level, but I think that just everybody's bought into their role. I think that that's the biggest thing I saw. Against the game and against UConn, which again I'm trying not to talk too much about, but I just can't like that. That's the thing. Honestly, makes me most excited. Is like, okay, like everybody has their role, and honestly, everybody seems excited about that role. Like, I mean, Madison Hayes, for example, like she's not somebody that obviously we're asking to score 30 points a game, but I mean, she plays defense hard. She can shoot the three, and she can rebound. She plays hard,
Yeah.
and I think that's one of the most exciting things for me from what I've seen from this team is just like with you guys with with Kai and Raina and Diamond, you name it. Like everybody had their role and everybody understood the role and accepted it and flourished in it. So I mean, would you
Yeah.
kind of agree with that statement?
I would completely agree. I think that's probably one of the biggest differences from last year to this year is that why everybody like obviously gave everything they had. I think this year like they're buying into their roles and buying into Coach Moore and what he's trying to do. And I think
Mhm.
they've had so much confidence on the court, and then that receives confidence from Coach Moore. And I mean, they just looked great out
Mhm.
there for it to be what the second game of the season. It was
Yeah.
incredible.
Basically, yeah, absolutely. And to kind of wrap up this part one, I do want to ask you a little bit about Wes Moore. I know, from everything you've said about him during over the years, him being, at the draft when you got drafted. You know, if you had to describe Wes Moore in one word, what? And I know you're like, oh my god, one word for Wes Moore, like, geez,
No,
that's
I
almost
got
an
it. I
impossible
got it.
task. But oh, go for it.
I got it. I
What you
would
got?
say passionate, passionate. And
Love
the
it.
reason why I say this is because I remember in practice, Coach Moore would always say, like, he would have so much energy. And, we're just walking into practice, like, all right, come on, like, let's practice. And he's all hyped up and energy. He's always like, I have more passion and energy in my little finger than you guys, like,
Uh,
than I've ever had, Like, he always,
yeah.
always had so much passion for the team and for us. And I think that's definitely what's helped him become the coach that he is.
Amen. Yeah, no, I mean it's kind of funny how some state fans were I mean, and again, I mean, Coach Moore admitted himself that last year he didn't do his best job. He admitted that, and I mean, from what we saw, I mean, definitely it wasn't the season which we had expectations for. But again, I mean, the job he's done, to get every single girl to buy in, to fill the gaps where he needed to, like help him with 3-point shooting, things like that. Just again, there's not 10 coaches in women's college basketball I would take over Wes Moore. There's not,
Yeah.
like, there's no way.
Yeah. I mean, I
So
think he's with the players, but I think it's also like that the players are with him. Like you
mhm.
have to trust your coach no matter what, even if it's a bad season, even if you might
Yeah,
not believe in what he's saying. Like if you buy into him and into what he's trying to do, it's most likely going to work out for you.
true. All right, Wolfpack Nation. So, with that being said, in part two, y'all, we're going to talk a little bit about Lisa's time at NC State. Some of her favorite moments, things like that, and then also to talk a little bit more about this team this season, and also to ask her some questions to get to know her a little bit, even on the personal basis as well. So, if you do not want to miss out on part two, do us a big, huge favor and hit that free subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that way you're notified on all your devices whenever we go live with part two. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to give us a follow at Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And we'll also have all of Lisa's links to all of her social media in the description below as well. So make sure to go and give Lisa a follow to stay in touch with her. And again, follow her throughout the rest of her basketball career, and and see if she ever makes a return back to Raleigh. That way we all know about it. So with that being said, y'all, we'll see y'all for part two, and go Pack, y'all.